Welcome to the Corner Kick Show. I'm your host, Nick Prokop. With me, as always, is Joey DiNapoli and Tyler Whitesides. Introduce yourself, gentlemen.
Buongiorno. You can find me on Twitter at Buckeye Italian.
That was Joey DiNapoli.
Buongiorno.
I do that sometimes.
And I'm Tyler Whitesides. You can find me at ProtectYourNet on Twitter.
All right. Well, just for everyone to know, we are part of the Tangent Bound Network, tangentboundnetwork.com for all the different shows and whatever you want to find there, except don't go there this week because it's being restructured, and there should be new things available next week. So if you want our show, cornerkick.tangentboundnetwork.com. Or just go to iTunes or Stitcher and subscribe to us there.
Please do.
Yes. Gentlemen, it has been a great week for anything USA. I cannot stop counting the W's going across the board for every single team that's going on here. But we'll start with last Friday in Amsterdam, USA versus Netherlands. Netherlands 3, USA 4. Wow, I don't know where to start with this. It was fantastic. How do you you're in Amsterdam, you're losing 3-1 against one of the biggest names in Europe, and Danny Williams don't care, Jordan Morris don't care, Bobby Wood don't care. Oh my God, it was fantastic. It was.
And they turned you into the Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah,
I
don't know what to do with my
hands. When you edit this, Nick, you're gonna go back and go, "Oh my God, that sounded exactly like the Mad Hatter." It was beautiful.
I'll be listening to this going, what am I doing? No, but yeah, 3-4 in Amsterdam. And I didn't expect it. I kind of expected a loss just because when I saw the roster for the Netherlands, I saw that they brought in a lot of their main players. Obviously, Aaron Robins injured, so he didn't play. But they had Jasper Silson, their number one goalkeeper, in there the whole time. They had Daley Blind in there the whole time. Memphis Depay looked fantastic most of the match.
Which is exciting from...
Well, for a Manchester United perspective, it's exciting. But, wow, what do you guys think? What were your takeaways?
Go ahead, Joey.
Okay. First and foremost, I want to pay some respect to Huntelaar, because he is a beast of a player.
Oh, yes, he is.
Finisher. And this was, the 2 goals he had in his match were just... that's his game. Like he is a really class talent. I'm not going to say he's world class, but he's a really, really good player. Now, as far as the USA, it was completely unbelievable because they got 1 goal back in the 70th minute with John Brooks pressing up the field, and then all of a sudden. Like, it just became... I'm still blown. Like, I can't believe I watched what happened coming back from 3-1. But it's inspiring, though. It's good to see these young talents like Danny Williams and Bobby Wood and John Brooks all stepping forward and contributing. I know a lot of people want to downplay friendlies, but I think it's safe to say that the Netherlands took this somewhat seriously.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, and because of that, I think it's a really good result. I do. It's not going to lead much in like FIFA World Rankings because of the way the multipliers work. But like the youth prospects in this country are pretty high, and you have to like that. And that was what was on exhibition in this match.
Could not agree more. One thing that I will say, and I need to give credit to another player because you brought up Klaas-Jan, is Bobby Wood. In the last episode, for those of you listening and who did listen, and if you didn't, you're an asshole.
And go back and listen now.
For those of you who did not listen, and I could not have been more wrong about Bobby Wood. We were talking about why is he even called in. It was kind of pathetic. He's not looking good. He's been on a scoring drought. He's this and that. He's just not talented. Whatever. I could not have been more wrong.
Can't find a club.
On you. good on you, Bobby Wood, for coming out and showing who you are and what you're made of, because that was impressive.
Yeah. And it's a funny joke I threw out there was I had to DVR and watch it when I got home because I was at a meeting at work from 3 to 4, and I come out and I'm like, it's 4 to 3 on the scoreboard, and I was just out in a meeting from 3 to 4. This is interesting. But, no, to break down the goals for the Americans, because Joey brought up that it's all the younger guys in this, and that's why I was just a fan of them. Blow. Yeah. Words. But yeah, I was just flabbergasted exactly by this. But the first one was Gyasi Zardes, and it was more for me Fabian Johnson, the way he set up Gyasi Zardes. It was just a perfect setting to get the ball to Zardes, and then Zardes just hit it home. I just loved how he set him up, and that's kind of what I expect out of a guy like Fabian Johnson. And kind of why I want him to play more fullback like he did in the next game we'll talk about. But I just like the way he works with from the wings and working with the guys in the middle. The second goal was John Brooks, and I think, honestly, while watching that one, when Yedlin crossed into the box and Brooks scores, you watch the defense for Netherlands, they're like, it's just an American defender, he ain't going to score this, and they just kind of stop. And then he just puts the ball in the back of the net, they're all like, oh, maybe we should have defended that. Then the third goal from Danny Williams, this was just an amazing shot from the top of the box and just kind of went right up to the top of the goal, and any farther back, it's over the goal, but it was just a rocket off his foot. And then Bobby Wood with a sensational finish. Well, it was not as sensational as his next one, but a beautiful finish off of a nice ball from Morris across the box. But yeah, all those names I mentioned are all young guys without the thought of Fabian Johnson, who's a little bit older. But those guys are all younger guys, some of them playing in Europe, so that's a good sign there. Zardes, I'm just extremely happy with the way he's starting to progress on the USA scene. But yeah, 4 young guys score against a pretty decent team in Netherlands. So it's interesting because Joey mentioned this earlier. They were taking it seriously because they had a European qualifier for the Euros. I think it was Sunday or Tuesday, one of these past couple of days. And they wanted to make sure they played strong against us so that they would be kind of going in at a high against, I think it was Latvia they played. But in the end, USA come home with the victory. And that's not all they did this week. Yesterday they flew into, they didn't fly in yesterday, but they were in Cologne, Germany yesterday. USA 2, Germany 1. This game, to me, was a better game to watch because after the first 30 minutes or so, instead of kind of trying to bring 6 players back to defend the Germans, it felt more like they were staying on the front foot and trying to push the Germans higher up the field, which is kind of what good teams do and what I expect good teams with good talent to do. So it was exciting in that sense for me. Joey, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, again, this was kind of another showcase of, guys with youth, showing what they can, bring to the U.S. men's national team. The game winner was stunning itself. 3 to 4 passes to set up Bobby Wood again. I'm just at a loss for words. Bobby, I don't even know what Tyler feels like. I didn't get to listen to his rant on Bobby Wood last week, but I imagine Tyler has to feel really, really bad after watching Bobby Wood and his amazing week.
Well, I would like to take credit for it. Hello. I mean, I basically said he shouldn't even be there.
Okay, Skip Bayless. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Podcast and listened.
Skip Bayless. Ouch. You cut me to the core, Joey.
Anyways.
I just want to get on my soapbox for a minute, though, and say that there's people out there that really want to look down on this result especially, over all the friendly results that Klinsmann's had. And I mean, I have to say though that he's done things that really we're not used to seeing from the U.S. men's national team in a friendly scope. I personally like to see this kind of competitiveness just because I feel like this is the best practice you can have. Like you can have your camp tryouts and whatever else, your intra practices, but these friendlies are here for a reason. And I feel like if you take these seriously, playing World Cup games, playing Gold Cup games, it becomes easier because you've put in that effort and you know what it takes, and the flip side is you look at the results over the years, beating Italy in Genoa, beating Netherlands on their home turf, beating Germany on their home turf. Like, this has almost got to be upsetting for them in a way, doesn't it? Like, that they lose in front of their people.
And it was the USA.
But there's a lot of people in this country that don't necessarily root for the U.S. men's national team and cling on to these other teams that say this, just junk about that they don't mean anything after they lose.
Of course.
Salty.
That's a losing mentality.
I support the Italian men's national team. I do. I was born there. I have a thing for it. But I'm not going to sit here and say that beating Italy 1-0 meant nothing, because it meant something, obviously, to get that result that they never had before. Yeah. There's a culture change within the U.S. men's national team, and the youth products are getting better, and that's what it should be look like. That's what should be examined. I don't want to get hung up on the results, but it's always about the way they play. It's always about the way they play in these friendlies. And for the last week, I have seen a lot of determination and just a lot more things being taken seriously within the matches themselves. Yeah. And it's a really good progression. I like what Klinsmann is doing. So,
Tyler?
That's a great question. Give me just a second.
All right, well, while Tyler's taking a second, I'll break down the goals themselves. Diskerud scored the first one to equalize after Mario Götze's very good goal in the 12th minute for Germany. Bradley set him up nice with a very beautiful pass, and if he didn't score this, I would have just been like, Mix, you never get a call-up ever again after that. But he had it home, which was perfect. And like I said earlier, they were playing on the front foot for the most part and keeping pressure on the German team, which was great because you saw guys like Brad Evans, who barely gets called in anymore, pushing, and you saw Yedlin pushing, and it was one of those things that these were not slouches that these guys were going at. These guys, even though that it's like Jonas Hector, who's a young left back, but he's basically going to be the future at that position for Germany. But you also had guys like Khedira on the field, Gundogan, Ozil, guys that we all know from major teams in major leagues. So that's why even I don't discount it, because you do have shades of the A team in this lineup. The second goal, Joe, you mentioned 3 to 4 passes. It was 3 passes. It was 4 people touched it, but 3 passes. And the beautiful part about it was the perfect setup of the switching of the field. You started on the left side of the pitch, you moved it to the middle, then you moved it to the right, and then you centered it again for the goal. That's just keeping the defense off balance and having to spread the field so that they can't bog down the right side or bog down the left side and keep numbers on one side or the other. By moving the ball that quickly and around, you were able to spring Bobby Wood with his speed and get the beautiful Golazo.
The U.S. went full Ozil.
Yeah.
They
Ozil.
blocked them. They just flipped the switch. It was just as easy as that on that entire build-up play that led up to the goal. It was perfect. It was amazing.
And even before that goal, there was other chances that just got me excited because they kept pushing and pushing. There was a point where Yedlin crossed the ball in the box and Bradley got hit a beautiful ball on net, and Zieler, it happened to be just right at Zieler. I mean, he could have aimed it a little bit more to the right and maybe it would have been a goal. But at the same time, though, in the past, where they lost the ball, instead of Yedlin keep pushing and getting the ball and then centering it back to Bradley, in past USA teams, they would have probably just let Germany have the ball and then run back on defense. To kind of expand a little bit on your little soapbox, Klinsmann, I'll hop on mine for a minute here. To kind of show give an example of the culture change here, Klinsmann's reign, USA wins in Europe, so on their home turf. You saw the Netherlands, you saw Germany, you mentioned Italy earlier, but they've also gone to two other pretty good teams in Czech Republic and Bosnia and Herzegovina, and won at those places. And then they also won in Slovenia, which, yeah, it's Slovenia, but it was still in Slovenia, so it was kind of nice in that case. Now, the perspective part of this is wins by all managers from 1991, so Bora, to 2010, which would be Bob Bradley. In Europe. Twice in Poland, which Poland's all right. I would say at that time Poland was about the same level as USA. Switzerland, who's always kind of up and down. They usually have some talented players, but they're up and down usually. Austria, who I would say at that time was probably either level with USA or slightly below. Iceland, who's usually historically not amazing, but have recently a lot of decent players that push them at least to the playoff part of the World Cup qualifying. And then Romania, who are kind of, other than their years with Adrian Mutu, they haven't really had fantastic teams, so you kind of still have that point where they probably played a really not so great Romania team, but that puts in perspective. You have powerhouses you beat, and not even counting the wins against those teams. You got to figure also. Think back to the Confederations Cup in South Africa before the 2010 World Cup. They went to the final and played Brazil to the very end, and they beat Spain in that one. So, even though that was not Klinsmann, they've been kind of already building on the culture change, and it just took Klinsmann to put them over the top, and that I think helped a lot for them. We'll go ahead and move on along. Tyler had to be taken away for urgent business, but we'll move on to the U20 World Cup. USA into the quarterfinals. In the round of 16, they played the Colombia national team, which at this level, USA and Colombia are actually fairly even. They're both very loaded offensively and don't have a lot defensively. So I expected a pretty good game out of both teams, and it didn't really disappoint. There was some questionable. Well, there were some bad fouls on both sides, some questionable calls with our left back Kellen Acosta getting a yellow early, which in turn turned out to get him a red later on, which turned into a PK, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But the goal that mattered, they rushed Rubio Rubin against Ukraine in the third match of the group stage just so that they could have him 100% and ready to go for the round of 16 match. And he did not disappoint. Beautiful goal to win it. Paul Arriola hits off the defender, comes down to Rubin, and he just nets it up in the upper right-hand corner. And the angle he took, too, I couldn't believe it went in. At first I thought it was going to go over the net. Joe, your thoughts before we talk about Zach Steffen?
I mean, I think, if I remember correctly, I mean, it was a match that Colombia pretty much controlled possession-wise, and they got off enough shots. They had over 24 shots, or at least 24 shots.
Yeah.
So it was a game that they pretty much controlled, but, I mean, Rubin's goal was loaded with cayenne pepper. It went top shelf and with authority.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. Other than the terrific save on the penalty, definitely deserved penalty. I haven't seen someone drag down the box like the one Colombian player did since like Probably a few years ago when Napoli was playing Juventus and Paulo Cannavaro was still on the team. But
Yeah.
I think it was really obvious, deserved penalty, but goalkeeper came up huge and had the right beat on it, and
Yep.
and I guess I have to retract what I just said, because I mean that was really the difference in the match. So I mean it was a good effort. I mean not dominating, but it was enough to get by, and sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, exactly.
I am really impressed with our goalkeeper and Rubin, though.
Yeah, and it's really nice. They both are playing, and Rubin especially at his age is getting a lot of minutes for FC Utrecht in the Dutch league. So that's a good sign. As a guy like that is going to be helpful in the future. He's definitely going to be an attacking player for the next cycle of some sort, for either the World Cup or with the U23s for the Olympics next year. Which I'm fully expecting that he'll probably get called in for the U23s for Olympic qualifying. Especially if you're thinking him and Jordan Morris on the Olympic team, woo, that's going to be fun to watch. Zach Steffen, the goalkeeper, wow, he read it right away. He knew which way he was going, leaned that way quickly, got a hand on it, and I didn't get a look at who the defender was. I think it was Savio Payne. But whoever that was that ran in and kicked the ball really quickly after Stefan hit it, that was some heads-up defense right there, in the sense that keep it away from Colombia and getting the chance to rebound it in. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm actually going to probably try to stay up and watch this maybe. Well, hey, actually, I'll be with you. It's technically Saturday night, but it's Sunday morning at 12:30 in the morning. I think it's going to be on Fox Sports or Fox Sports 1 or one of those channels.
I can always go to World of Beer and watch it. So.
There we go. Perfect. So yeah, they play this Saturday night, Sunday morning, against the Serbian under 20 team, and the one thing I noticed about the Serbian team is, even though they're somewhat decent and made it this far in this round, this is the farthest they've gone since 1991. The last time they made it this far was the 1991 U20 World Cup, and I think that was like the second or third iteration of the U20s, but still, it's been that long for Serbia, so should be interesting to see how it goes. I really want to see USA get to the semis and maybe even push for a U20 World Cup. I don't think they've been to the semis ever, and if they have been, it might have been that team from '97 with Landon Donovan and all those guys. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they have to do this weekend. And Tyler, do you have any thoughts about USA Germany before we get back here on USA Colombia and wrap that up?
You know what, I do. There
Okay.
are a lot of thoughts here about USA Germany. I think it's exciting. I think what you guys were touching on, and I'm sorry for the break.
No, that's all right.
For the moment. I had some technical difficulties.
I wanted you to get your say in too, because
because I think what Joey was saying is accurate. I think what Klinsmann has done, by way of bringing in big time friendlies, is a big deal, and it should be commended. I don't love what he does tactically, and haven't. But they've looked really good the last two games. Not to say that that's the rule and not the exception, but I think the big name friendlies do need to get addressed as far as giving him praise, as well as a technical director bringing in these younger players who, are well established. Sure, they're dual nationals, whatever, but they're coming in and they're starting to change the mindset of the American soccer fan that we can go into a Germany, a Cologne, and actually beat them at their house rather than beating them here like we did last time. So I think once we start to change that mindset, and I think that's happening now, that is going to drastically change the way that we're perceived, from the world. Although I think the world gives us more credit than we do, even at times. But
Tyler, before I get you on the U20s, one comment I want to make now that you brought that up. The funny part about that match here in the States that we won against Germany, this team that Germany fielded now would easily beat the Germany team they fielded here.
Right.
So that's even more impressive to me, is they beat an even stronger Germany team in Germany compared to the weaker side they brought here.
And we had lesser talent, but so did they. I mean, it's not like we didn't have a Ter Stegen own goal kind of situation to bring us over the limit either. It was some actual solid play, so it's good.
That was pre-Barca Ter Stegen too, so he was still a little raw.
Yeah. Exactly.
Your thoughts on the U20s against USA and Colombia before we move on to the women?
Really proud of them. From what I gathered, it looked like we'd been outplayed quite a bit, which is to be expected, I think, at that age against Colombia. But at the same time, to go out there, score a goal, and then to save a penalty, you can't do anything but tip your cap to those guys, man. And that's incredible. It's a great feat to move into the next round, and it's exciting.
Well, moving on to the Women's World Cup, gentlemen. Group A actually just shaken up a little bit, and I am I guess not shocked, because I expected China to be somewhat of players in this group. But Group A now has 3 teams at 3 points between Canada, Netherlands, and China. The difference is Netherlands and China obviously have played 2 matches. Canada will play later on, and probably at the end of this show is when they'll be kicking off against New Zealand. But that's kind of how the group goes right now. That can obviously change a lot when Canada and New Zealand kick off. But thoughts about Group A so far, gentlemen?
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like Germany. Obviously, had that easy run over Côte d'Ivoire, but coming back and then drawing with whoops.
Group A, the 4 teams I mentioned.
Oh, sorry, Canada, China, yeah, whatever. Yeah, okay. It's exciting too. That's exciting too, but not as exciting, obviously. As
I think you could have said that was probably a questionable PK for Canada versus China, but we'll take it. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
They're going to be more lenient to Canada. I'm really intrigued to see what happens tonight, because New Zealand did not show up against the Netherlands at all last match, and Netherlands took home a 1-0 win. As it is right now, Thailand has a 3-1 lead in the 85th minute versus Ivory Coast.
I just watched Thailand's last goal, and it was so horrible. Whoever the goalkeeper is for Ivory Coast should not be playing goalkeeper.
Yeah, well, Ivory Coast is probably the worst team in the tournament, honestly.
Well, they flicked the ball. They flicked the ball into the box, and for one thing, Thailand was offside, so the ref should have called that. I mean, it was really obvious, but the Ivory Coast goalkeeper went, I mean, just running after it at the end of the box, and the Thailand player beat her to it and then crossed it back in for an easy open net goal. It was just you can't leave your space that far.
Before we get on the kind of a love for Germany and Norway train for this group.
Yeah, sorry about that. Canada.
No, that's all right.
I'm so sorry. It's terrible.
Tyler, Bobby Wood, you guys.
Hey, you know what though? That group's going to be solid now from now on.
Yeah, exactly. That's matches to watch.
The curse of the wood. Or Bobby. I don't. Whatever.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. So the group right now: Germany 4, Norway 4, and if this result holds up, which I'm pretty darn sure it will, Thailand will be at 3 points, and Ivory Coast right now looking like the worst team in the tournament, 0 points holding up the rear. Tyler, what are your thoughts on this group?
Well, here's the thing. Let me tell you something about this group, Nick. The after losing 10-0 to Germany, and then coming back and now losing to Thailand, who lost to Norway 4-0, I think we're pretty certain who this group is going to belong to. Probably Germany and probably Norway. Just throwing that out there, considering they drew, didn't they?
Yeah, they did draw 1-1 today.
Yeah, so they got a draw, 1-1. It's exciting.
Those 2 teams are classically good teams for the girls, though. But, Joe, your thoughts on this group?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much set in stone. I mean, Norway did themselves a really big favor today, and the goal that they scored, it was just, flick like over the wall. I mean,
Yeah.
set right on the edge of the box and flick right over the wall onto the top shelf on a free kick. I mean, it was perfectly played. I mean, it looks like they rehearsed that about 100 times because I mean the execution was flawless. So
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
yeah. Well, and I was just gonna say, I'm curious, really, what will happen in the end of this, because you figure Norway's gonna take Cote d'Ivoire to task. Ivory Coast will be out. Thailand, though, I'm curious if they only get the 3 points from today, if that'll be enough to be one of the 4 or 3 third-place teams to go through. Honestly, not really sure right now at this stage because right now
I think you need to get 4. I think you need to get 4 points.
I feel like you do too, and that might be the difference maker. But they could be one that squeaks in because there could be a team that only gets 2 points or 0 points or something along those lines. But we'll see with that. I really expected this to go the way it has gone, honestly. But the shocking team for me is in Group C right now. You have Cameroon with 3 points after annihilating Ecuador 6-0, and then Japan 3, Swiss with 0, and Ecuador with 0. Wow, I did not expect Cameroon to come out that fast and that blazing. Joey, what are your thoughts on this group right now?
Well,
Ivory Coast scored. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this group. I will say though that on paper Ivory Coast does look bad, and on television they do look bad. Ecuador gave up 3 penalty kicks to Cameroon.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Ivory Coast looks really bad on defense, but how bad on defense do you have to be to give up 3 penalty kicks?
Yeah.
It's
unless the referees are
this is a little bit not where I expected to be at this point. I mean, I really expected Switzerland to put in a better effort against Japan. So yeah, fuck it. I don't know. I really don't know. Period. That's all I got.
Tyler, your thoughts?
Well, we knew Japan is a good team, obviously.
Yeah.
They won the last one. So it's not like they're coming out of nowhere. But again, I would have expected Switzerland to do more too. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me that Cameroon is that good. I didn't expect them to be good at all. But again, most of it was blank slate for me.
Yeah. So, I'm honestly shocked by it. I think, though, the Swiss only gave up 1 goal to Japan anyway, so it's not like it was they gave up 1 million goals or anything. But, no, I think if I can't remember if they play Ecuador or Cameroon next, but whichever team it is, I think they'll bounce back a little bit. This group definitely should have 3 teams coming through, though, just because I think the Swiss can bounce back and do something good. We will skip over Group D because we will come back to that in a minute. But Group E, Brazil with 3 points, Costa Rica with 1, Spain with 1, and Korea with 0 at the moment. Not shocked by Brazil winning, and I kind of expected it to be only 1-0 because Korea does usually have a solid defense. I'm a little more shocked by Costa Rica and Spain just because I thought maybe Costa Rica would take the win there, but 1-1 draw, and it ended up being a tie there. What are your thoughts on this group, Tyler?
I don't have a lot of thoughts on Spain,
Brazil,
Brazil, and Korea. Because Spain, I would assume they're good, but you told me that they don't have a good team, so I have to trust your judgment. But
they drew with Costa Rica.
Yeah, exactly. You said
and I didn't think Costa Rica was that good, so.
No, but better than Spain. So, yeah, I don't know. I knew that Brazil was going to win. I mean, I don't even know too many of their players, but even if you don't follow women's soccer, you know who Marta is.
Oh yeah.
So it's there. You know she's going to be great. She scored a penalty. And then I think that penalty changed the tone of the game. But, yeah, no, it's crazy. I'm excited about all these groups because, to me, this is great. I don't know any of these teams.
Competition.
It's cool. But, yeah, hopefully Cote d'Ivoire scores and ties with Thailand.
Well, it's in extra time, so we'll see. I mean, in added time, so we'll see.
Yeah, they still got about 4 minutes of extra time left at least.
Yeah. All right, Joe, your thoughts on Group E?
Well, if you really want my thoughts,
yes.
if South Korea had a good defense, they sure did not play like it against Brazil. I know, like, on paper, you look at it and you say, oh, well, they lost to Brazil 2-0. That's not so bad. But, I mean, the way they lost was pretty bad. I mean, first, they give up their first goal on a back pass that Formiga pounced on and put in. Can't do that.
No.
And second, they gave up a penalty that Martha converted on. So, yeah, South Korea is. I mean, like I said, if they have a good defense, they sure did not play like that against Brazil. I understand that Brazil is kind of intimidating, but there are a lot of mental errors for South Korea and their defense that did not help them. Watching Costa Rica and Spain, I was really disappointed in Spain. I came away from that match still feeling like Spain was the better team, though. I was really pissed off with the way Costa Rica did everything to time waste in the last 20 minutes or so, which, I mean, is normal. But I also think it's an omission of Costa Rica knowing that Spain is better than them, and they're afraid of Spain pushing forward at all, the way they handled the last 20 minutes. So, but I still feel like Spain has still a chance to go on, because I feel that the 4 points is necessary, even if you're a third place go on. They still got a shot at it. They get to play South Korea, and if they can draw against Brazil, that would be huge. But I feel like Spain has enough to get past South Korea.
We'll see, and honestly, I think it helps also, because even though you said with South Korea's defensive gaps, I think it also helped them to start with the strongest team first and get them out of the way, so then they only can have anywhere else but up to go, really.
Korea Republic, boys. We have to be politically correct.
The Korean Republic, I feel like they will they will probably move up to third, I think. I feel like in the end, this will go Brazil, Spain, Korea, with those three teams moving forward, and then Costa Rica being dropped. I don't know if Costa Rica can do it again, honestly, because with playing Brazil next, that doesn't help any, and I feel like Brazil's going to smack them around, honestly. Moving on to Group F, France 3 points, Colombia 1 point, Mexico 1 point, England 0. Wow, Le Sommier's goal for France against England was absolutely fantastic, and before that happened, it was just like you knew France was going to score, just the way they were playing, and they just kept attacking and tacking in that area, and you just felt like, okay, when's the goal going to come? I think France is just going to run away with this group now, and that's kind of what I expected. I feel like Colombia, Mexico, and England are all fighting for second and third now, and I'm kind of intrigued to see who goes through, honestly. I think it's a big toss-up between the three, because I feel they're all even teams right now. Tyler, what are your thoughts on Group F?
Look, France is so good. It's insane.
Yeah.
That goal was ridiculous.
Yes, it was.
I mean, just outside of the box, it curled upward, up into the... Oh, so sexy. Anyway, besides the point. What was I saying? Group something or other?
Group F, Group France, Colombia, Mexico,
No, I'm just
England.
kidding. That was a part of the show.
I know.
Let me roll with it. Anyway. Amateur hour. Colombia, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about Colombia, because they could be great, but they could also be utter shite. I don't know. England, I thought England was supposed to be good, but I guess...
Yeah, usually they are.
I always think that England is going to be good, and then they shit the bed anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the issue, is that I think they're going to be good, and then all of a sudden, shit. And what about Mexico? I mean, because I would have assumed also that Mexico is a decent team, but...
Well, we destroyed them 5-1, and I mean, yeah, we're USA, but it's always been with the women's game the opposite of the men's game, where USA is the classic team that's better at soccer than Mexico when it comes to the women's game. That's kind of why I prefaced this with I feel it's a huge toss-up still, because all three teams are strong enough to advance. But Joey, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that goal was ridiculous. It was I can't. I don't know how much more I can add to that, but I will say, as far as Mexico is concerned, they kind of got screwed at the end of their match. getting a foul called when it appeared that they had won the game. I think they are a better team than what that result showed, and this might be another where those three teams might come out of it. I mean, it's still possible.
Yeah.
Any of these tables that we're looking at with a 3-1-1, there's total plausibility that three teams will come out of it, and I think that Mexico is probably going to come out supercharged after a disappointing result. I mean, I would hope for their sake that they would, but I think they're a strong side to contend with.
And you also got to figure with those tables that you're going to have 4 groups that have 3 teams come out, so you're going to probably those 3 tables probably have the advantage on doing so. And even though Colombia has a point right now, who knows if they'll get more points, and who knows if because with England they still have to play France and England, and that's not going to be easy. And then maybe England does shit the bed against Colombia, but we'll see how that goes. Now to the ever so important group: USA 3, Nigeria 1, Sweden 1, Aussies 0.
Oh, what?
Amazing group. What?
Aussies. 0 points. Okay.
Wow, coming into this tournament, honestly, I felt it was going to be USA, Sweden, Australia being the 3 teams out of this group. But Nigeria has put a good case. They played a really strong Sweden team to the gun with their attacking prowess, and they're a fun team to watch. I'm not surprised by how. I mean, I'm surprised by how good they were against Sweden, and Sweden's a really strong team, and we'll talk about USA versus Sweden here in a little bit, but what are your thoughts on that match, guys, the Sweden versus Nigeria match?
I want to give props to Nigeria's manager or coach. He knows what he's doing. At the moment, they were down a goal. Sweden was having problems with their back line, and one of them had to come out. And it was a combination of Nigeria's speed and his understanding of tactics of when to throw, 4 players forward that eventually created the game-tying goal and earned them a point. Nigeria's they're honestly scary in a way.
Yeah.
If you're not organized defensively, they will score. And they know the opportune times to do it. So, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Sweden got caught, even up 3-1. They lost their composure defensively.
Tyler, Sweden, Nigeria?
Yeah, I mean, everything Joey just said, but that last goal by Nigeria to 5-hole keep, it was dirty. That's dirty. I hate when that happens. It was a good run of play, though. I mean, it was really good. And then to see that at the end of it and see how excited Nigeria was, it's like they won the World Cup right there. So
I love the manager too, because he went down and kissed the ground afterwards, celebrating because he was excited and he just beat a powerhouse team, a top 5 team in the world. So, moving on to the most important match for us: USA 3, Australia 1. Megan Rapinoe with a brace, Kristen Press with a very beautiful goal from the left side of the box. Man. Whew. Tyler, thoughts?
I thought the game was shit. I thought that USA played about as poorly as I've ever seen a team play and win.
Sad but true.
And they, to be fair, they did what they needed to do to win. And you have a player like Rapinoe and Hope Solo. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Hope as a goalkeeper.
Hope smash.
Which we could talk about that if we want to, but that whole Hope Solo stuff. But I think they played so poorly in the first half, USA, that I was actually nervous that they were going to freaking lose this game. It was so crazy. And then to have all those big-time saves that Hope was making, I think it just brought more inspiration to the team, saw that they could do it. Of course, they got a couple of lucky breaks with Rapinoe's first goal, deflecting like the worst deflection in the history of deflections. Like, it's going to the left corner and it shoots all the way to the right. The goalkeeper's just like, fuck. So, to me, to see the 2 goals, I didn't like how tactically they were set up. It was very poor. Let's just dump the ball and hope for the best, and then maybe, just maybe, we can squeak one out on a lone header.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was crap. It looked like a bunch of shit. They couldn't hold the ball. They gave it up way too easily. I think that a lot of questions will need to be asked. But because we won 3-1, it's easy to say, "Oh, that's great. Put wallpaper over that shit and move on." You know, but and it 3 points are 3 points. So
And pretty much almost guarantees them through, really, if you think about it, because they'll get more points later on.
yeah, and if they beat Nigeria, we're through. You know,
yeah,
so,
exactly. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, this wasn't an easy match to watch. I mean, the U.S. looked really disjointed, especially defensively. I mean, Hope Solo made up for a lot of critical defensive errors. Australia's lone goal came off of just a really bad defensive error. I mean, they're all in a line and didn't shift over. And communicate that, which set up Australia's goal, and that, I mean, everything else though Hope Solo covered for. But going forward against Nigeria, you don't want to do that, because like I said before, I mean they tore apart Sweden when they knew the opportune time to do so, and going forward for the U.S. and their defenders, they need to communicate a lot better.
Yeah,
they need to know when to shift the line and know, you know, who's marking who and where everyone else is on the field, because that was, even though they only let one goal in, it was extremely pathetic defensive performance. And they should probably all be thanking Rapinoe for, you know, turning on that gear when she needs to.
Yeah. Well, and to kind of expound on tactical and Rapinoe and all this wonderful stuff, I honestly, it's funny that Rapinoe scored the 2 goals, because I felt she was out of place, honestly. I don't like her on the wing, because she doesn't seem to be as fast as other females on the team. And I feel like on the wing you really need someone a lot faster to get the ball down, because when there's times she would be dribbling down the wing, I was just kind of counting seconds going by, like, okay, where's she going with this? There needs to be. I felt like she needed to be more central, and then someone else coming, and then her making a run up the middle or something along those lines. That's kind of what I felt, because even though she is so good at crossing the ball, if we're going to make some sort of tactical switch to hopefully help the team, I feel like they should go to more of a 4-3-3 scenario, with the Carly Lloyd and Holiday and Rapinoe in like a triangle in the middle. Holiday and Lloyd being the more defensive type midfielders, and Rapinoe being kind of like the attacking midfield at the top of the triangle, and then have 2 fast people on the outside and Wambach or LaRue in the middle. That's kind of the way I feel it should go, just because I felt like when we were getting down the side of the field, there was not a lot of pace, and the other issue, there was really not a lot of people attacking the box. You would see Wambach maybe press. It was always like 1 or 2.
Missed a header that she should have gotten.
My God. That was. She looked her age, actually, in this match, and that was not good thing at all.
You sexist pig.
What? I was saying she looked her age, 35. Any soccer player at 35,
everything you're saying about Rapinoe, I was thinking about Kristen Press almost the entire game. She looked
I was about to say that.
Completely out of place. Just disheveled, giving the ball away like it was nothing. I mean, didn't have any form of possession, and then she scores and everybody gives her a pass. But I feel like, I don't know. I think she had.
And the reason why Joe Ellis threw her out there, she's a fast striker, and I don't fully agree with that. I felt like, you know, maybe we can put LaRue and Morgan on the right wing, and then have like a Heather O'Reilly on the left wing, something like that, or maybe even Amy Rodriguez, could give her a chance out there. But yeah, I kind of agree with that too. But and that's kind of the issue is right now, where are we positioning these girls? Because it seems like some of them feel like they're out of position, and that's a bad thing going forward if you're going to play some of these bigger teams. I feel like these next matches, they really need to figure out the way they want to play and the formation they're going to play in. I really do not like the 4-4-2 for them. I really do not. It does not look good. And there was the biggest issue I had was there was not a lot of people doing secondary runs into the box. Because, yeah, Rapinoe's a great crosser, but when you only have one target, there was often times where she would cross the ball, there's like 6 Australians and 1 American. You know, the success rate for that kind of scenario is very, very low. So I really feel like they need to kind of switch it up, either a 4-3-3 of some sort. Maybe bring Press into the middle then and have, like, say, LaRue and someone else on the outside and Wambach on the bench. Like a LaRue and Rodriguez on the outside and then Press as the target person in the middle. But
problem with that is that you need somebody like Wambach in a 4-3-3. I mean,
true.
That's what sucks is the Press is.
Well,
not
that's kind of why I
style.
thought maybe LaRue in the middle, just because she's physical too.
Yeah.
She's not as tall as Wambach, but she's just as physical. So.
But she holds the ball up really well. I don't know about
Exactly.
the distribution, but she got the assist on the goal.
Yeah.
You know, coming back to what was that to Press?
Yes.
That was a killer pass in.
And
So.
that was perfect by Press because even though we just kind of ripped on her for losing the ball a lot, she knew when to stop and let the defender keep going.
Tyler ripped on her.
Well, she knew when to stop and make the play for the goal, which is great because she timed it well. LaRue timed the pass well, so she had enough space between her and the defenders and just launched it into the goal. So I like that a lot.
Once she moved Press into a more attacking position, I felt
Yeah.
she played better. I just
agree.
think in the first half specifically, she was our crutch. She was our I don't know, our crux, the worst player on the field to me. I mean, aside from the defenders.
Well,
defenders were
Kleinberg on the right left did not look good at all, honestly. Every time she had the ball and she was trying to do a 1-2 with Rapinoe or something, she would try to get the Rapinoe and the ball go away, and it's like, oh. So we'll see what happens there.
So,
Krieger wasn't bad on the right covering for Press.
I'd like to see a 4-3-3, having LaRue in the middle and having Morgan and Press on the outsides. I'd be cool with that.
Okay.
Especially if we have people running those channels.
Especially Morgan, she has speed.
Oh yeah, she can carve people up. It'd be nice. Get her out on the outside, let her isolate a little. Ooh.
Tyler, while you're talking players and stuff, what do you expect tomorrow from Sweden, USA Sweden?
Well, having not seen Sweden, I can honestly say I don't know what to expect from Sweden. But with Pia Sundhage being their manager, their coach, that's obviously going to be a bit of a rivalry, even if it's not meant to be. Plus, I think a lot of the Swedish people they know, right, just from hanging out. So I think I read an article earlier that talked about them having some kind of rivalry against them just because it'll add to it. It was a couple of quotes from Jill Ellis that mentioned that, but yeah. So I think it'll be great. I think we will win, but I think it'll be closer. But I think also that our team is going to see this as a wake-up call the last match.
I hope so. I really hope so.
You can't lose like that, or win, I guess.
Win
like that.
Well, I understand how you feel. There was too many tense points where it should have been like, this should not have happened.
Right.
Well,
as a coach, you can't look at that and think of that as a win. To me,
no.
I don't. I see that as a shit play that we happen to have a good player who made great plays and another player who also was a benefactor of another great play. And she made a great play rightfully on her own, and Hope made her own great plays. But if they score, we're down 3-0 in the first half. It's not that close.
Yeah, and honestly, you can't win a cup on just individual performances alone.
Correct.
It needs to be a team effort because it's a national team. But Joe, your thoughts going forward into Sweden tomorrow?
I hope I could tell you that I hope that both teams have figured out what they need to do defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really want to expect a good match from this. It's gonna be a little bit charged, like Tyler said. I think both managers have something to prove. I think Jill Ellis has as much to prove that she can lead a team to a World Cup, and beating Sweden goes a long way, especially in this group. I mean, they can put themselves in a good position to get out of this group and not have to worry about Nigeria so much. Because I don't want to get to a point where we have to worry about Nigeria.
Yeah, I agree.
My expectation, though, is that they both improve defensively, and hopefully this is a 1-0 win for the U.S.
Okay. Shot you a little early.
I don't think it's going to be too dominating scoreline wise, but I'm hoping for a really good defensive performance because I feel at this point it's more important to be a well-disciplined defense in this World Cup than it is putting a bunch of goals up, and I say that because of a lot of the matches that we've seen, especially from Ivory Coast. So that's what I have.
Yeah, Joey, you already mentioned your scoreline for tomorrow, 1-0. What are your thoughts for scoreline for against Nigeria?
I mean, that's tough. It depends on what happens tomorrow. It depends on what happens tomorrow. Because, like I said, I don't want it to come down to, there being, because I want to see the U.S. be at the top of this group, obviously.
Yeah, me too.
I want that to come down to the Nigeria match. I say if U.S. gets their result tomorrow, then they can go forward and probably. I expect Nigeria to score, but I think it might be a lot of the same things that you saw against Australia, and U.S. might come out 3-1. Now, if they don't get a result against Sweden, at least as far as what they're expecting, like let's say that's a tie, I can see this being a little bit more edgy. Again, I can see Nigeria still scoring a goal, but it might be like instead of 3-1.
Okay.
But it's really important. The Sweden match is so important.
Yes, it is.
For the team, I believe, because this is an opportunity to kind of seize confidence before going to the knockout stage, and quite frankly, they need it on the defensive side. So,
Tyler, your thoughts, score lines for tomorrow and next Tuesday?
Ooh, good question. I think that we beat Sweden, but I do also think it's going to be close. I can't see Sweden getting more than a goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the form that Hope Solo has been in, I mean, I would say probably 2-1 USA. I think Australia beats Nigeria.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see that.
And then I think we beat Nigeria 3-0.
I was thinking kind of similar to Joey, 1-0 tomorrow. Thinking about it, though, Sweden does have a really good attack. I feel like they'll exploit one defensive error at some point that Hope can't make up for. Mm-hmm. So it'll probably be similar to your scoreline of 2-1 if they win. In the end, though, I will just kind of go right through the middle there and go 1-1, mainly kind of towing the fence based on the fact that I am really hoping that someone besides Becky Sauerbrunn can step up and save the day, because there was too many times she was tracking back and tracking on the side that Julie Johnston was playing on. Even though she looked fairly good in certain parts, she was tracking back too often to kind of save that side of the field for
I thought Johnston looked good, man.
Well, there was. Do you not remember that chance where Becky ran all the way back to save for Julie?
Of course, but
there was a couple times like that.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Julie was bad. I was just saying.
Well, no, it doesn't necessarily.
I don't want to see Becky doing that a lot more.
But it doesn't necessarily point to Julie being in the wrong position. We don't know tactically what she was told to do.
Sure.
Because a lot of times I saw Kristen Press in the right-hand side at the defensive side of the ball, which I didn't get. So maybe that was some tactical advantage she wanted to exploit, and it ended up being a backfire. But I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't there.
Well, and I think Nigeria is going to win. Also, I think it's going to be 3-1 because I think Nigeria will at least score one, just because Nigeria's attack is fantastic. But that's all we got for today, gentlemen. Any final thoughts?
I just want to say, fuck Juventus. Y'all did. Y'all can buy as many Italian Cups and Scudetti as you want, but didn't win probably the most impartial thing. So.
I don't like that they're buying up all of my favorite players either. It pisses me off.
Yeah,
Um,
Sammy Guedera is dead to me now, and I like German national team. So, because Joey, like you mentioned earlier, he likes the Italian team too. I like the German team. But after I heard Guedera was signed by Juventus, I'm like, I'm done with you. You're no longer.
I love Paulo Dybala.
Yeah, they're selling Ball and getting Wetzel to come in for him. So if they do that, I think that's a downgrade in my opinion.
Sure, there's no other final thoughts you have, Joey.
I can talk about Serie A all I want. I mean,
there's a certain team with a certain manager situation that was finalized today. Do you want to say anything on that before we go?
Napoli signed a homegrown guy, and Sarri spent most of his life managing teams and the sea level of Italian football, and finally worked his way up to Empoli, got them promoted, got them some really attractive football in Serie A this season. Kept them from getting relegated as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they beat Napoli 4-2. So I'm just glad that Napoli finally has a guy in place that's involved in. I think that's really huge, and it's a way for the entire community to connect with the team even more so. Because Napoli, the soccer there is just it's really religion-like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like college football towns all across this country that treat college football like a religion, and it's the same way in Napoli, even more so with the soccer team. So I'm happy for them that they got their guy.
Well, one thing, someone that we mentioned about Sarri that I thought was very interesting was that practice he would put drones out on the field to kind of help the players with positioning and get them used to where they need to go and kind of make it so that they can learn by following a drone on the field in a way, which is kind of cool. It's kind of different, new age type of situation. But Tyler, any other final thoughts for you?
No, I will also say fuck no or fuck Juve.
Tyler.
I said fuck Juve. You were just talking about the whole time. Freudian slip, perhaps. I don't know. No, but fuck Juve. And wow, embarrassing.
I hear you, Tyler, over Nick laughing. This is
Probably not.
No,
it's too loud.
I'm just saying. Fuck Juve, Forza Napoli, and I'm just glad that the women of the U.S. women's national team are getting credit finally.
All right. Well, till we meet again, gentlemen, we will not have a show on Tuesday.
Sayonara, suckers.
Arrivederci.
Go Cleveland!